Welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew, and today I want to talk about the PC experience from a console gamer's perspective. Now, I've had this PC for a couple of months. I didn't go out and I didn't buy the most expensive PC I could buy. I bought a 3060 Ti powered with the 5800X and 16 gigs of memory. The 3060 Ti does in fact come with 8 gigs of VRAM. So technically you should be able to run whatever you want. Now this machine is capable of doing 4K 60, but it is more suited for a 1440p monitor. If you go 1440p with this, you are going to be able to get maximum settings on basically everything, and you'll be able to use ray tracing as well as the whole kit and caboodle. Like, you'll get well over 60 frames a second on dang near everything. Take for instance Forza Horizon 5. In order to get maximum settings, we're talking extreme and ultra on everything. I'm hitting about 90 frames a second, anywhere from 79 to 90 frames a second. So that's really good. I mean, we're talking limited pop-in, we're talking full ground deformation, we're talking, extreme shadows, shadow maps. What else do we have on here? Yeah, everything is at ultra, and it just flies. It just feels so good. It's not even funny. But that's at 1440p. Now, if I was to crank that up to 4K, I think I would have to lower some of them settings down to probably just high or very high, and I would probably be able to hit my 60 frames a second and still retain my ray tracing. I know there's a mod for this that you can mod it or whatever on PC, and you can get ray tracing while you're out in the world as well. That to me isn't that important, because what's going on with the screen space reflections in this, it looks good enough. It looks good enough to where I'm like, okay, yeah, that's not bad. Basically, the purpose of today's video, well, if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Honestly, the purpose of this video today is to kind of gauge, man, is it really worth going from like a Series X or a PS5 and I spent $1,700 on this PC. If you include the monitor, that would be 17 plus 400 is $2,100 for the monitor. The PC, I mean, depending on the monitor, you might get speakers in it. Mine didn't, so I had to buy separate speakers. So we're looking at like $2,120 after tax, like 22 something, 23. So $2,300 for what I would call essentially the entry level into the PC space. Now, I did buy the HP Omen 30L. I've been 100% satisfied with the performance, with the visual aesthetic of the PC itself. It looks good, it feels good, it runs great. It is a pretty easy experience to migrate to PC, especially if you're coming from Xbox. If you're coming from Xbox, if you're buying digital games, you'll already have a library of games. You'll have access to Xbox Game Pass as well. You can still download those games. You can still play them. So essentially, this is more. It would be a much easier transition from an Xbox platform to the PC platform. Whereas on the PlayStation 5, you're basically gonna be starting all over again. Now, if you one of the bigger things is most games, they're gonna be you're gonna just have to buy storage and start doing digital games if you go PC. It's getting more and more rare to find like an actual disc that has the information on there. Everything is just ran through Steam or Epic or one of the other downloaders that you can, one of the other PC game stores. There's ways to get cheaper game prices. The PC games are always, when they come out at first, they're usually the same price, but it's pretty easy to find a lower price. I mean, the day that, what was it? that PlayStation game, Ghostwire Tokyo came out. I could have got it on PC for like $45 and ended up buying it on the PlayStation. I had PlayStation Plus. I only paid like $53 for that. PC gaming is different in a way. I mean, you can still hook up your controller. You can use your Xbox controller, your PlayStation controller. Everything is fully compatible for helping you make that transition a little bit smoother, being able to still stay in your comfort zone with the controller for most games. Like I'm playing this RTS game, Expeditions Rome, right now, and yeah, you're gonna have to learn how to do mouse and keyboard eventually. It is challenging. It is challenging to teach yourself a whole new, like, because there's way more customization with your keyboard and mouse than you're ever gonna get on a controller. So that there is something to take into consideration, that some games that you might be interested in, some games that you might want to try might only have keyboard and mouse. So that is something that you will eventually go in PC have to learn, because I'll tell you what, you go from the store that we have for our games and you get what's there. With PC, not only can you go out and buy games that you used to play on like PlayStation 1 all the way up, and every one of those you can max out on visuals and resolution, all of that stuff. Now they still do look like their older counterparts, but they will be displayed on your monitor at, you know, whatever resolution of monitor you decide to buy, 1440p, whatever. So you will still get the jankiness of like the older games, but you will get it at a higher frame rate. You will get it at a better resolution. So it'll generally look as good as you remember for the most part, and even better. Like a game like Castlevania, Lords of Shadows 2, it literally looks phenomenal on PC. Like it looks amazing. That's the thing. If you go from your console to a PC, yes, you're gonna have a lot more settings at your fingertips. You're gonna be able to maximize your visuals. You're gonna be able to maximize your FPS. But I'll tell you very quickly that once you go to PC, the FPS is like once you feel it, like there's no denying that it is a superior experience in terms of how the games feel. Is it way more superior than 60 frames a second? Now, that's going to completely depend on the type of game you're going to play. If you're playing something like an open world game, I don't necessarily think that matters as much as it does like if you're playing a racing or a shooter. Like if you're playing a racing game, the more frames, the better. It just feels phenomenal. It looks good. It feels way better. Shooting games, the same. The response time and everything when you're moving around and stuff, that also feels much better. There are some instances that I don't know if I could recommend going to PC, especially over these newer consoles. These newer consoles, in my opinion, with what I bought and what I've compared it to, mind you, my PC setup cost me $2,200. If you were going to go get like a 3080 build or bigger, you're gonna start racking your price up a little bit higher every time. Now 3080 builds should only run you about 25 to 3K, depending on like your processor and your memory and everything that you're gonna put in there, your storage, all the other stuff that you're gonna add to that is going to jack that price up, exponentially. But you're not gonna have to buy another PC for a while. Like you're gonna be set for a very long time. If you go something. Even with my 3060 Ti, I'm probably more than set for the rest of this generation at 1440p. Like I'll be pretty good. I mean, it's like you asking like why all of a sudden this like 1440p thing. Well, 1440p at maximum settings looks way better than 4K at console settings, and that's fine. But I mean, when you look at a game, when you look at games that are running on these new platforms, I'm surprised. I'm literally surprised. I don't think we've ever gotten games this close to the PC counterpart. Ever. I don't think we've ever gotten to a point where we can get, ultra settings on a lot of settings on the PC. Because let me tell you, maximum settings on Forza Horizon 5 versus the Xbox Series X in the quality mode, they're literally identical. Like they look so close it's not even funny. The biggest thing is you do take that hit in FPS. If you want maximum settings on these new consoles, yeah, you're probably going to be stuck at 30 frames a second, and there's just not much that you can really do about that, due to the fact that there's just not enough, extra power to push those. I feel like we definitely can get, better. I do feel like these consoles haven't even hit their max. I do feel like Forza Horizon 5's engine is kind of held back because of the last gen. I really do feel, because I don't even feel like my PC is working that hard to produce all of that. But I mean, at the end of the day, it kind of is, because if I was running this at 4K on my TV, I could definitely get the 60 frames a second with some pretty decent settings still. I'm pretty sure I would only have to go down to like maybe high or something to achieve over 50. No. To hit over 50 frames a second. Come here, right now. Come here, right now. I'm trying to do a video and you're in here snooping. You little trash panda. You little trash panda. You little trash panda. No. You go to mommy. You go to mommy right now. I make a video. No, you go to mommy. I make a video. Hurry up. Beat it. When you get into... Sorry about that. The doggy needs some attention. No, you go see mommy. But when it comes to being able to recommend... I don't know at this generation, this early in this generation, I don't know if I can recommend you go out. Yeah, we got a lot of games that are coming out that are cross-gen. I do believe those cross-gen engines are holding these games back in a certain to a certain extent. You would think, whoa, there's more power. We should just be able to push them harder. Typically, that's the case. Like, especially with the PC, you get a new graphics card, a new processor, all that stuff. Yeah, you technically can push them. But there is a limit. There is a sky limit. You can only go as high as the resolutions allow, and the maximum settings are the maximum settings. Like, there's really not much more you can do. And most of our games that we're getting right now, these cross-gen games, I've downloaded a bunch of these games on the PC, and to tell you the truth, like, we are literally hitting maximum settings on a lot of these games. Like, we're hitting maximum settings. The biggest drawback we're hitting with these consoles is the ray tracing. Is ray tracing really going to matter that much this console generation, or is that going to be more of a PC exclusive? Yeah, I think that's going to stay PC exclusive throughout this generation, and there's a reason, because the more games that get developed with ray tracing, the more that technology is going to grow. It's going to get optimized. It's going to become better. Toward the end of this generation with consoles, I do believe that we will see better adaptation and implementation of ray tracing. Me personally, I prefer ray traced shadows. I do like the shadows. I like the global illumination as well. I'm not as sold on the ray trace reflections, just because of how heavy they are on your GPU and your CPU and stuff. I just don't know if I can wrap my head fully around that type of a performance hit to have to drop to like 30 frames a second. I would much prefer like a 60 FPS implementation of whatever they're going to do. I feel like ray trace shadows are probably a lot easier to get there than anything else. So that's kind of where I want to see this generation go. I do have full faith that these consoles are still pretty decent. They're still pretty good. You got to understand that, like, before the 30 series cards, our consoles are almost as good as the top of the line 20 series cards. Like, you had a 2080 Ti that was the top of the line, and you've got you've got both the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 that are pretty close to that performance, minus the ray tracing. So I think we're pretty close. I mean, I think we're pretty good. I don't think we necessarily need to rush out and just start breaking out the checkbook and buying these expensive PCs, because let's face it, most of everything that we know and love and care about is in a console space. But at the same time, if you are that adventurous and you want to go out and like really treat yourself and be able to play your favorite games still, yeah, man, buy what you want to buy. You're grown now. You're old enough to make that decision for yourself. And I'll tell you what, man. It might have used to been hard to get onto PC and get your code or get everything optimized, get everything set up right. It's so much easier now, especially if you download GeForce Extreme or GeForce Experience. This thing will optimize your games already for you, so you can still essentially live in that console bubble on a PC and just have it done automatically for you. And you could just be like, oh yeah, and you could get used to it. And then as you learn more, then you can learn to start tweaking things to your liking a little better. The Xbox Store does that too. It kind of just auto optimizes your gaming experience, but you can still get in there. I've noticed the the Xbox thing is not as good as the doing the optimization as either Steam or freaking the GeForce Experience. But the GeForce Experience seems to be the best. But that is only possible with games that are optimized for GeForce Experience. It'll automatically do that for you. There's a lot of cool things to learn about going to PC too. It's not necessarily, I mean, like, yeah, dude, I know the PC guys can seem a little bit like they're up on their little high horse, like they're we're the master race. And it's like, you know what, man, there's definitely struggles on the PC that these guys don't tell you. They don't tell you some of the stuff because it's things that you need to figure out for yourself. And some of it's so non-issue that it's like, that's probably why they don't say a lot about it. But I mean, most of it is user experience. Most of it's user experience because you are opening yourself up to a much bigger world, a much bigger experience. There's a lot more going on. If you're heavy into multiplayer, yeah, there's always the cheating and all the stuff like that you're going to have to worry about. But at the end of the day, the experience is still good enough and still warrants it's still strong enough to warrant your attention. Like there's definitely things in here. There's games on the PC that I can't play on the console that I've been playing, recently, and I'm like, wow, man, these are pretty cool, man. Like this Expeditions Rome that THQ sent me code for. Like this game is freaking amazing. I am so excited to learn how to play this game and really get into this RTS genre. It literally blows my mind. I sat here for a couple hours this morning just playing this game, and I'm just like, wow, man, the level of detail, the level of the craft and care that goes into some of these PC experiences that they can update faster. They don't have to go through all the Microsoft and PlayStation Store certifications. A lot of games are already built on the PC and optimized. You can get pretty decent optimization by yourself just out of box optimization has been like, wow, dude, that's not actually that bad. And you're like, whoa, man. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you like, oh my gosh, the PC experience is so much better, but there are a lot of things that make the PC experience more palatable. Higher frame rates, maximum visuals, things like that really do. I mean, but the game is only going to look, I mean, like literally if you were looking at this little monitor and this TV sitting 5 feet away, the exact same game, it would be hard pressed to see a difference. You would be hard pressed to see a difference unless you're a couple feet away from them. Like literally it is, they are that close because they literally are the same game. So you're not necessarily getting a much better experience. The one game that I have noticed a drastic difference is Assetto Corsa Competizione. On PC, it looks phenomenal. There's more trees, they're crisp, they're way more detailed. On the Xbox and the PlayStation, you'll see like blurry trees right next to your car and stuff, and I'm like, wow, dude, these are 4K. So yeah, you're not getting the full PC experience on that game for sure, but I mean the PC experience for that game is literally undeniably like the best racer on the market today, in my opinion. Now, I haven't tried R Factor or a couple of those other ones, but I guarantee you Assetto Corsa is a freaking like top of the line. It is top of the line. So that's my thoughts on this PC versus console type deal. I'm really excited about the future. I definitely appreciate the opportunity that I get to to check out PC and learn, more about it. This is pretty cool, man. And this is all because of this YouTube channel. If I didn't have this channel, I would have never even considered doing like the PC thing. I would have stayed a console guy. But I'm the kind of person that meets change head on, like I do. I'm not afraid to change. I'm not afraid to try new things. I'm not afraid to go outside my comfort zone. I love gaming. I love gaming, and PC is another medium that I can game on. I think the only thing that I'm closed off to when it comes to gaming is probably cell phone games, just because I've never been a handheld guy. I played the PSP and all of those for a while, but I've never treated handheld like an actual gaming experience. It was more like a pass the time thing. So I never really just took it serious, but PC and consoles and everything like that are more of a serious thing for me. So when it comes to handheld gaming, I don't know. I've never really looked at it that well. I mean, my Switch is always hooked up to my screen, so I don't even play that as a handheld. And I mean, yeah, the idea is cool. I think I like the idea more than I actually like the. It's so hard to look at that little screen. It's too hard. But and if it wasn't for you guys that watch the content and support this channel, none of this would have been possible without you. So I do make it a point to bring you the best information and the best knowledge I can when I try these things, and I do it from I do it from from a position of honesty, man. I don't want to lie to you. I don't want to sit here and tell you that, oh my gosh, the PC is the best thing on the planet, because it might be for somebody, but it might not be for you. It might not be right for you, because you're a gamer. And I encourage you, ask me questions in the comment section. Get on the live chats. Ask me questions about stuff. Let's make this community the best we can for everybody. And I'm not going to tell you that, like I said the other day on the live chat, man, I'm not here to tell you that your PlayStation 5 is a bad console or you made a bad choice. I don't even feel like I made a bad choice with my PS5. I'm just a little disappointed that, some things just don't. They don't, and it's I'm only disappointed really with the Sony first party offering, man. Like I expected better, man. My expectations were too high for the PlayStation 5 this generation, and that's fine, because now that I have a PC and I have a real perspective on exactly what is capable and what's possible. Yeah, the PlayStation 5 is a little bit underpowered, but whatever. I mean, I would much rather PlayStation move away from checkerboard rendering and go with something else, maybe like the UE5 will be better for them, something like that. I'm just still a little salty over my Horizon Forbidden West experience. I wanted that 60 FPS experience to be at least in line with what I would get with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I would have been happy with that. I literally would have been happy if they would have just gave me a 4K version of the PS4 Pro at 60 frames a second. Like, I would have been satisfied with that. I would have been happy. I would have enjoyed it, and I would have been like popping screenshots all day long and talking about how beautiful and wonderful it is. But no, it's hard to be excited about FuzzK. Like, it really is. I'm just glad that my PC doesn't have any checkerboards. So if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe, man. This has been awesome. We're just over a year on the channel now. It's great. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I will leave a link in the description if you want Checkerbird Hunter merch. Yes, we have Checkerbird Hunter merch. It's pretty cool. It's pretty funny. It literally is a joke. It's just funny, man. It's like a channel thing, man. We talk about it on live streams, stuff like that. So we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for joining us today.